There is something very strange. The more you want your mind to be still, the more restless it becomes. The harder you try not to think, the more thoughts come rushing in. The more you try to push away your troubles, the more tightly they seem to cling. The more you want your heart to be completely clear, the more you begin to see how much confusion still lives inside you. And because of this, many people begin to believe that meditation means making the mind empty. That meditation means having no thoughts at all. That meditation means sitting for a very long time without sadness, without anger, without memory, without longing, without pain. But if we understand meditation in that way, we can easily turn it into a battle against our own mind. We sit down, but silently we are fighting every thought that arises. A sad thought appears, and we want to push it away. An angry thought arises, and we think something is wrong with us. An old memory returns, and we blame ourselves for not being calm enough. An unpleasant thought passes through, and we quickly judge ourselves. In this way, the body may be sitting still, but inside there is a war going on. That is not yet meditation. It is only another form of tension. Meditation is not forcing the mind to stop performing. Meditation is sitting still and watching the mind perform. If it wants to give rise to a thought, let the thought arise. If it wants to remember the past, let it remember. If it wants to paint stories of good and bad, let it paint. If it wants to stage a tragic or comic play, let it stage it. If it wants to bring back a person, a pain, a sentence, a regret, let it bring them back. Your task is not to forbid the mind from working. Your task is not to chase after it. A thought comes. You know it has come. A thought goes. You know it has gone. An emotion rises. You know it is rising. An emotion settles. You know it is settling. Just know. No need to chase. No need to resist. No need to judge. No need to turn every thought into a long story. That is the first doorway into meditation. The human mind is like the sky. Thoughts are like clouds. There are white clouds. There are dark clouds. Sometimes the sky is bright. Sometimes it is gray. Sometimes the clouds gather so thickly that it feels as if the whole sky has disappeared. But in truth, the sky has never been lost. We are simply looking too much at the clouds, so we forget that the sky is still there. The mind is the same. Sometimes a kind thought arises. Sometimes an unkind thought arises. Sometimes there is love. Sometimes there is dislike. Sometimes we want to forgive. Sometimes we still want to compete and prove ourselves. Sometimes we are very clear. Sometimes we are deeply confused. But if you rush to identify yourself with each thought that appears, you will be carried away by it. An angry thought arises, and you think you are the anger. A sad thought appears, and you think you are the sadness. A fearful thought comes, and you think you are the fear itself. And because you believe this, you get pulled in. You react. You say things you should not say. You do things you should not do. You create more suffering for yourself. But if you can simply sit still, see it clearly, and know, this is an angry thought arising. This is sadness coming. This is an old memory appearing. This is the mind creating another story. Then in that very moment, you are no longer swallowed by it. You still see it, but you are no longer it. You still know it is playing out, but you are no longer being pulled onto the stage to perform with it. This is a very deep place in meditation. It is not about destroying every wandering thought. It is seeing wandering thoughts without becoming lost in them. It is not about forcing the mind to become saintly. It is seeing both good and bad arise in the mind without letting them control you. So much suffering in life does not come from thoughts appearing. It comes from believing those thoughts completely. The mind says, that person no longer loves me, and we believe it immediately. The mind says, I have failed, and we believe it immediately. The mind says, there is no other way for my life, and we believe it immediately. The mind says, this can never be forgiven, and we believe it immediately. The mind says, I must react right now, and we believe it immediately. And every time we believe like that, we hand over control of our life to a passing thought that has only just appeared. But look carefully. Thoughts come and go. Emotions rise and fall. The anger of yesterday may already feel lighter today. The The worry from last week may no longer seem so big now. Something that once kept you awake for many nights may, a year later, be only a memory. So why should we hand over the peace of our whole life to things that are always changing? Meditation is learning to see the impermanent nature of the mind. No thought stays forever. No emotion stands still forever. No wave is the entire ocean. If you are calm enough to sit still, you will see that everything passes. Sadness passes, anger passes, fear passes, longing passes. Even the things you once thought you could never endure eventually pass. Only the one who knows how to observe begins to become free. Some people ask, if I simply allow the mind to arise naturally like that, will I become careless and uncontrolled? No, because meditation does not mean doing everything the mind thinks. Meditation means seeing clearly what the mind is thinking before you act. A person without mindfulness has one angry thought and immediately speaks hurtful words. One greedy thought appears and they immediately chase after it. One fearful thought appears and they immediately run away. One sad thought appears and they immediately sink into it. But a person with awareness still sees anger, still sees greed, still sees fear, still sees sadness. Yet between thought and action there is a space, and in that space they have the right to choose silence instead of words that wound, to choose one breath instead of reacting, to choose letting go instead of competing, to choose understanding instead of condemning, to choose returning inward instead of rushing outside to find something to cling to. Meditation does not make a person lose their emotions. Meditation helps a person stop being blindly controlled by them. Meditation does not turn you into stone. It makes you softer but steadier, lighter but deeper, more peaceful but not detached from life. So just sit still. Do not rush to fix your mind. Do not rush to make your mind more beautiful. Do not rush to turn yourself into someone who no longer has anger, jealousy, or desire. Simply see them when they arise. See jealousy when it comes. See sadness when it appears. See craving when it pulls you away. See fear when it builds 1,000 imagined futures. Just see. What is clearly seen begins to lose its power. What remains hidden is what secretly controls you. When you see anger, anger is no longer completely you. When you see fear, fear is no longer sitting in the driver's seat. When you see greed, you can choose not to follow it. When you see your wound, you can hold it with understanding instead of turning it into a reaction. That's a very real form of practice. Not only sitting still in a quiet room, but in the middle of a noisy life, still having a quiet place inside. Someone says something that goes against what you want. Your mind reacts, Someone disappoints you. Your mind shakes, An old memory returns. Your heart sinks, A desire appears. Your mind is pulled away. To know in time is the beginning of freedom. Meditation does not have to begin in a sacred place. It does not require a bell. It does not require incense. It does not require a perfect posture. Meditation can begin the moment you realize you are being pulled away. 1 second of recognizing anger is already 1 second of meditation. 1 breath before answering is already a breath of meditation. 1 time you do not follow an old thought is already 1 return. 1 moment when you look at your own pain without drowning in it is already meditation. Do not turn meditation into something far away. Do not think that only people who are highly skilled, deeply pure, or very knowledgeable in the spiritual path can meditate. You only need to begin from where you are, from 1 breath, from 1 moment of sitting still, from 1 moment of watching the mind without running after it, from 1 moment of knowing this is only a thought, this is only an emotion, this is only a scene playing out in the mind, and then gently return. Return to the breath. Return to the body sitting here. Return to this moment. Return to the one who is aware. One day you will understand. The mind does not need to be defeated. It only needs to be seen. Wandering thoughts do not need to be destroyed. They only need to no longer be believed blindly. Emotions do not need to be rejected. They only need to be illuminated by awareness. You do not need to become a person without waves. You only need to become the ocean that knows waves come and go. You do not need to force the sky to have no clouds. You only need to remember that, even when dark clouds gather, the sky is still vast. You do not need to forbid the mind from performing. You only need to sit still and know that you are not all of those roles. That is the place of freedom. That is the place of peace. That is where meditation begins to bloom, quietly, without needing anyone to recognize it, without needing a beautiful form on the outside. Just you sitting still, breathing gently, watching the mind arise and pass away. If it wants to give rise to a thought, let it arise naturally. If it wants to paint good and bad, let it paint naturally. If it wants to act out comedy and tragedy, let it perform naturally. As long as you do not chase after it, as long as you recognize illusion without being lost in it, as long as, among the countless movements of the mind, there remains one quiet point that is awake and aware, then in that very moment, you have already touched meditation. If these words touched your heart, save this video and return to it whenever you need a gentle reminder. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next videos.